Okay, picture this. You're at a party with your partner, everything's cool, you're having a good time. And then you see it. You see their eyes just drift across the room and lock onto someone. And in that split second, a switch just flips inside of you. That hot, prickly wave of jealousy washes over you. But have you ever stopped to think, what is it about that specific person that just made your blood run cold?
Right? What is it? Is it how they look? Is it that they seem super charming? Maybe they just ooze success. Well, get this, the answer is actually surprisingly different for men and women, and it's basically hardwired right into our DNA. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Because what if I told you that this gut-wrenching feeling, this awful mix of fear and anger and sadness, what if I told you it isn't some personal flaw you have? It's actually an ancient alarm system. It's a survival tool that literally helped our ancestors win the incredibly high-stakes game of love, relationships, and, well, making sure their genes got passed on. That's right. This feeling that we all try so hard to push down is what we're going to call an ancient alarm system. It's a primal instinct. Seriously, it's written right into our DNA, and it was designed for one thing: to protect our most valuable relationships from any potential threats.
And this is where things get really, really interesting. Because when we talk about jealousy, we're really talking about his brain versus her brain. You see, the evolutionary pressures on our male and female ancestors, they were totally different, which means we evolved very different triggers for what makes us jealous.
So study after study shows this really consistent pattern. Now, of course, we're talking about generalities here, right? But on average, men tend to be way more distressed by the thought of sexual infidelity. For women, though, the bigger fear is usually emotional infidelity, the idea of their partner actually falling in love with somebody else. But why? Why the big difference? Well, it all boils down to two huge evolutionary problems. For our male ancestors, the number one anxiety was something called paternity uncertainty. Think about it. A woman always knows a child is hers. A man, back in the day, could never be 100% sure. And pouring all your time and resources into raising another man's kid, that was a genetic dead end. For women, the problem was different. It was resource diversion. Raising a child is this massive, long-term investment. So for her, the biggest threat was her partner taking his time, his protection, and his resources and giving them to another woman and her kids.
And this translates directly into what sets us off in a rival today. It's wild. Because of those ancient fears, men are often most threatened, on a gut level, by a rival who seems powerful and has a lot of resources. Signs that he could really provide for a mate. And women? They tend to be more triggered by a rival's youth and beauty, ancient signals of high fertility that could capture a man's long-term emotional commitment.
But hang on, it's not just about what happened thousands of years ago. This incredibly complicated emotion actually starts to take shape when we are tiny infants. Our own personal history, our childhood, it all plays a massive role in creating our personal jealousy blueprint. And these roots go so deep. I mean, studies have shown that babies as young as 6 months old show signs of jealousy when their mom gives attention to a doll instead of them. Then that feeling gets sharpened by sibling rivalry, that classic battle for mom and dad's attention and resources. All of these early experiences shape what we call our attachment style. If our parents were there for us consistently, we tend to feel more secure. But if not, we might develop a more anxious attachment style. And that becomes the blueprint for feeling much more intense jealousy and fear of being abandoned in our adult relationships. So here we are. We're all just walking around with these Stone Age brains, trying to navigate a modern digital world that our wiring was never, ever designed for. And you know what supercharges these ancient instincts like nothing else? Social media. It is, for all intents and purposes, a jealousy factory. And the scale of this problem is kind of mind-blowing. According to Pew Research, nearly 1 in 4 people in a relationship has felt jealous or insecure specifically because of what their partner is doing on social media. I mean, a simple like on a photo can set off those ancient alarm bells like a firework. And this creates this incredibly powerful and honestly destructive feedback loop. It starts when a partner's online action triggers that first little pang of jealousy. That feeling then prompts us to, go check their profile, maybe do a little investigating. And of course, we almost always find more ambiguous evidence. Since we have no context, our brain just fills in the blanks with the worst-case scenario, which then fuels more jealousy. And the cycle just keeps going. So, what does this all mean? Are we just helpless slaves to our ancient programming? No way, not even close. Look, you can't just flip a switch and turn off an emotion that's been fine-tuned over millions of years, but you can absolutely learn to manage it. Understanding why you feel what you feel, that's the key to taking your power back from the green-eyed monster. So here's your toolkit. First, reframe it as a signal. When that alarm goes off, just pause. Ask yourself, what is this feeling really trying to tell me? Is it about a real issue in my relationship, or is it pointing to one of my own insecurities? Second, check your expectations. It's totally normal to notice other attractive people. Trust isn't about controlling where someone looks. It's built on their commitment to you. Third, build your self-worth. Seriously, the more you invest in your own life, your hobbies, your health, your friends, the less threatened you're going to feel by anyone else. And finally, number 4, channel the energy. Instead of letting envy destroy you, use it as fuel. Let it motivate you towards your own self-improvement.
At the end of the day, feeling jealous doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're human. It's an ancient echo from a time when these feelings kept us safe. It's a fundamental part of our human story, but it absolutely does not have to be the boss of your modern life. So I'll leave you with this to think about. For you, personally, which rival trait is more likely to flip that switch? Is it dominance and resources, or is it youth and attractiveness? Because just knowing your own triggers, that's the very first step to mastering them.